Hello, and welcome to the session. We will be giving 1 or 2 minutes just for the rest to join us, and please enjoy it.
For those who have just joined, we'll just be giving a couple of minutes for other people to join. Some people like to join after the hour, so let's just give 1 minute and then we'll start. Thank you. Okay, I think we'll start. And so thank you very much for all those in attendance. And please feel free to put questions in the chat as we go. We will look at the chat from time to time as we go. So my name is Mwiya Mukunyandela. I do sales for Cambium networks for 10 African countries, the Gambia, Zambia, DRC, Congo, Brazzaville, Gabon, Cameroon, Ivory Coast, Sierra Leone, Liberia, who else? Yeah, that's it. Based in Johannesburg, been with Cambium, this is my 14th year now. 8 years as an engineer, the last 5 years business development and sales. So today our focus will be high capacity applications, affordable high capacity applications. Sorry, let me just move my cursor. There we go. A quick snapshot of the agenda. So in case we have some new people joining who are not aware who Cambium is, I'll give a quick snapshot or glance of who we are. Then I'll give you an eagle's view of what is in the portfolio in terms of the technologies, the platforms, and the tools. And then we'll dive into what we call the EPMP 3000, which is our affordable point to multi-point platform. And then I'll give you some insight into Wi-Fi 6, that's 802.11ax, and 6E, Wi-Fi 6E, which is Wi-Fi in the 6 gigahertz band. So late last year, the FCC, which is the regulator in the States, released 400 megahertz of frequency to be used for wireless. Okay, so that's what 6E is. Then we'll look into some applications, because applications is what your end customers talk to you about, and that tends to resonate with them and yourselves. And then I'll give you a snippet into our affordable Force 425. That's a backhaul unit doing a gig with SFP and fiber interfaces. And then our our partner in the Gambia, Tima, Power Module, is on the call, and he will give us insight into how these platforms have addressed operational challenges in the Gambia. Okay. Then I'll take you through our most recently launched product, the QoE, quality of experience. It's a box that improves the user experience, and I think that's what is important. Is what the user thinks of your service, and not what you, the owner of the network, feels you're doing. Okay, so this is a box that provides you insights into the user's experience. Okay, in other words, coming from the horse's mouth. And then we'll wind up with the service provider toolbox. If you are a WISP on the call, this is a platform that you want to join because it's a one-stop shop with all service provider relevant content, starting from collateral, marketing, promos, sales, frequencies, technology, and what other ISPs and service providers are doing in the EMEA region. Okay, so quick snapshot. Cambium Networks, we're a multi-gigabit wireless vendor headquartered in Chicago, with today in excess of about 750 thereabout employees. Sorry, I'm just getting my pointer. Very important. We're growing. We're a growth company, so 31% growth year to date. We go to market via channel. That is our model, to speak to the end user, and that's because we believe that the local partner is able to add or tailor the manner in which business is done, number one. Secondly, they sit closely to you, so when you need any assistance, they're there. Okay. We have a robust cloud management platform called CN Maestro, which I'll talk about in a bit. And we're a public company. IPO, we went IPO June 2021. Okay. Above all, we are a technology company, and so here what I'm sharing with you is the platforms and number of platforms that we add or that we've added since 2011, since inception, because Cambium came on the market in 2011. We're a spin-off from Motorola. We're a wireless division of Motorola. So 2011, since 2011 to date, these are the platforms that we've added. So point-to-point, affordable EPMP point-to-multipoint, the 450 line of products, what we call the Medusa 450M, we're 450i, and the standard 450. This is our flagship point-to-multipoint platform, doing about 200 subscribers on a single sector or access point. Okay. In the 2016 timeframe, we added Wi-Fi. We started with our own Wi-Fi called CN Pilot. These are indoor, outdoor, and home routers. Okay. Somewhere around 2018, we added switches. So we have our own switching line, CN Matrix, and that's because we firmly believe there's convergence between the LAN and the WAN. Okay, that convergence is getting, the line is getting blurry. Okay, then we also have a fixed LTE called the CN Ranger in 2.5 and 3 gig frequencies. This is fixed for fixed applications, so no mobility, no nomadicity. Okay. Talking about nomadicity, if you have a nomadic case in point, on the 450i and 450, we have a nomadic, the ability to do nomadicity. Okay. Then we have CN Maestro, which I'll talk about. That's our management. CN Heat is an optimization software tool that allows you to pinpoint exactly where the best coverage or the best reception in terms of RSSI signal to noise ratio will be. Okay. Around 2020, late 2020, we added Wi-Fi 6, which is AX, the most recent standard of IEEE. So these are indoor, we've got outdoor Wi-Fi 6 access points, super quick, intelligent access points. And we also have CN Wave, which is 60 gig point-to-point, point-to-multi-point meshing. This is for short distances, high gigabit capacity. So think of it as wireless over fiber, if you like. Okay. Just to reiterate for those who may be new to Cambium, so who do we serve? So essentially, we have network providers, enterprise, and then we have private networks, which are becoming very popular. You know, that could be security, defense, or indeed banks or insurance companies. Okay. Then we have service providers, managed service providers. We have tier 1 mobile network providers. We have fixed service providers. And then we have enterprise systems integrators and VARs. These are partners under what we call our connected partner program, which has 3 tiers. So there's a connected partner plus, and then a distributor. And that's the ecosystem that fulfills any requirements you may have, you know, locally. Okay. Let's have a look at the technologies. So essentially, our platform is split into 2. We have what we call fixed wireless on the right, and on the left we have Wi-Fi and switching, which is more enterprise. So fixed wireless on the right, broadband. On the left, Wi-Fi and switching, which is more an enterprise play. Okay. So on the left, far left, we have indoor Wi-Fi 6 access points, what we call the XV3-2-8, I beg your pardon. We're so much in love with the 2-2, sorry. And then we have the XV2-2, which is an outdoor Wi-Fi 6 access point. Again, a major breakthrough was the way we designed the unit. You can see it's elongated, and that's by default. It's no mistake. And what we did was to the top 2/3 is the antenna, and then the bottom is where you find your RF circuitry. Okay, so offering more space for the antenna, giving you the ability to have further distance, but better concentration. Okay. Then we also have what we call the Xeras family of products. This is a company that we acquired early 2019, I think. Yeah. So Xeras used to do high density Wi-Fi access points, so multi-band type of units. Okay. Bottom is what we call enterprise switches. We have different types depending on the number of ports: 48, 24, 16, PoE, non-PoE, SFP plus, maybe 4, 6 uplink ports, or layer 2, layer 3 managed switches. And again, we're not trying to become a Cisco overnight, but what we're saying is simplicity. So one of the things, the key features of our switches is a feature called PBA, public based automation. So where you don't need to remember the configuration of your ports. It's auto config. You just plug in a device. The switch will know whether this is a camera, this is an AP, and then apportion the correct settings for that device on that port. You remove that device, the port is dynamically deleted in terms of configuration. So gone are the days of, oh, where's that guy? Or he didn't put down the configuration. I don't know what is configured on the ports and so on. Okay. Then we also have dedicated switches for ISPs, what we call the TX range, the tower switches, specific for ISPs switching at the tower. And for example, we have the 1000, which is also able to give power and sync from the switch to your access points. Okay. Moving to the right, where we have the fixed wireless for broadband play, we spoke about LTE. So this is LTE in 2 gig, 3 gig, but for fixed applications, so no mobility. Okay. And the reason no mobility is twofold: to reduce the complexity, so you don't have all those mobility servers that you would get in a traditional LTE network. Secondly, that tremendously reduces on the cost to deploy LTE. Okay, so fixed applications. Okay, 60 gig. This is the CN wave. So high band, so very high frequency. So again, so you're limited in terms of the range. So if you're doing point to multi-point, anything from up to 500 meters. If you're doing point to point, depending on the device that you're using, you can go up to 3 or thereabout kilometers. But we have the link planner, which I'll talk about in a minute, which will give you more insight. Okay. The 450M, which is our flagship point to multi-point platform, available in 3 gig or 5 gig, using what we call massive MIMO, so multi-user MIMO, okay? Meaning it's able to talk to several subscribers at the same time. And that number of subscribers is determined by the transmit and receive paths. So the 450M has 14 transceivers, 14 transmitters, 14 receivers, and therefore at any one time slot instance, it can talk to 7 subscribers. But again, there's some rules of how those 7 subscribers are supposed to be spread across the sector to be able to achieve. And the beauty is, as you load your network, you come closer to hitting the capacity of the 450M, which is 1.2 gig on a 40 megahertz channel. So if you're doing 20 megahertz channel, you're looking at about 500, 600 meg aggregate shared capacity. Okay. Bottom left here is the EPMP 3000, which we'll be talking about later, also based on new MIMO, but you can see the chains, transceiver chains, it's only 4x4, and that's because you're looking at the cost, the affordability aspect. So 3000 can only talk to 2 subscribers simultaneously. One access point can talk to 120 subscribers, offering a capacity of 1.2 gig on an 80 megahertz channel. So if you do the maths, about 40 will give you about 600, yeah, 600 meg, and 20 will give you 300 aggregate. And then we have a platform called CN Vision, which is optimized to carry video. So it's a video-centric platform. So those of you who see opportunities in security, and this is the radio, so it's co-located with the camera, but it's got things like OnVIF and VMS, which enable simplicity in terms of operation and configuration. So it's a plug and play because of the OnVIF. Because any modern camera has OnVIF, so you just plug it into the switch and it's auto detect. Okay. Then lastly, we have what we call the CN Reach, which is a narrowband platform. You can configure it in point-to-point, point-to-multi-point, and so you co-locate it with a sensor, and this box takes the information from your sensor and relays it back to a central point where you might be taking some corrective action or analyzing that information that you're getting. Okay. So in a snapshot, that's the portfolio, the technology as it stands today. Let's look at the tools, because good technology or good platforms without tools to be able to monitor or to be able to plan, to give you that confidence when you're going to deploy, doesn't say much. So first and foremost, far left is the CN Maestro, which is our cloud management. So either cloud or what we call on-premise or standalone. So CN Maestro is used to troubleshoot, to configure, manage, monitor, upgrade. If you have a Wi-Fi network, you can use it as a hotspot solution. It's got voucher system on it. So very versatile. We've got two flavors of CN Maestro. We've got CN Maestro Essentials, which is the one I'm pointing at now, and then we have CN Maestro X. So CN Maestro Essentials is free of charge, and with the Essentials you can monitor up to about 10,000 subscribers. Now coming to CN Maestro X, it's not free of charge because it does a lot more than the Essentials can do. So the CN Maestro X is more subscription based. So based on the number of devices and type of device that you have, it falls in a particular bracket, and you are charged based on that. So some of the differentiating factors are CN Maestro X has API, so you can point it to third-party servers for any particular function you may want to incorporate. Secondly, it allows you to hold events longer. When I say longer, CN Maestro X, you can have events in history for up to a year. While CN Maestro Essentials, it's a month. Okay, it's a month. And then CN Maestro X also has what we call MSP feature, managed services provider. So if you have several customers under on your network, this can be something that you can use in terms of, so the MSP dashboard allows you to manage all those customers from one platform, and you can give them separate accounts, and also allow them to see what you want them to see or what they would like to see of the network. Okay, so those are some of the differentiating features. And then far right is what we call XMS, which is our Xerox management system, which came into the portfolio as a result of the Xerox acquisition. So XMS is also a management system for those Xerox access points. The main difference is XMS is more access control centric. So this is the type of platform that you would, for example, configure a particular AP and say, this AP serving this school, I don't want it to allow YouTube for the hours of 8 to 12 in the morning while they're in school. You can allow YouTube after 3 p.m. So it's that granular. Okay, so going forward, most of those features will be incorporated into CN Maestro X. Okay. Bottom left is the Link Planner, our free of charge planning tool for point-to-point, point-to-multi-point. You simply import the coordinates and request for a profile, and within minutes you know what you're up against in terms of the path, the profile. Okay, so to tell you whether a link is doable or not, and then you can start doing a lot of what-if scenarios, changing subscriber height. You can bring in interference, the level of interference if you've measured it, or if you're doing links over water, you can simulate links over water. Okay, those reflections. And then we have CN Heat. CN Heat is not a free of charge tool because it uses more precise mapping data called LiDAR data. And so what CN Heat does, it tells you to say at a customer location, maybe you're using a building, but that building may be 3 by 4 meters. How do you know where on that building is the perfect point to get the best signal? So CN Heat gives you that insight quickly. So it does make a difference if you're doing, for example, 150, 200 SM deployments every month, okay? Bottom right is CN Archer, which is an app running either on Android or iOS, and it allows you to, it helps you configure your CPE, okay? So gone are the days where you require 2 people, 1 person moving the CPE, the other person on the laptop checking the RSSI signal to noise ratio. So all that now can be done by 1 person. They just look at the app and immediately they're done. They can upload those results back to the office, okay? So those are the tools, planning and management tools that we have in the stable, okay? This slide, I'm not going to go through it in detail, but what we're trying to show here is that in the portfolio, we talk about fabric. You hear a lot about the word fabric. And what we're talking about as wireless fabric, we're saying we have different technology capabilities that can do line of sight, near line of sight, several meters, several hundreds of kilometers, different capacities, okay? So in other words, we can tailor your solution based on different threads. Those threads are different technologies. That's what the fabric is all about, and that's what we're showing here. You know, starting from inside the home router, outside, outdoor Wi-Fi, backhaul, right up to high capacity systems. And you can see that as you go to the left, the range reduces, right? That's physics, that's RF. So as you go to the right, you have further range, okay? And then of course at the bottom, our switching portfolio and the CN Maestro that we've just outlined earlier. Okay. So let's jump into the 3000. I have a poll, but I think we'll bring it in after the 3000. So the 3000, as I said earlier, is our affordable point-to-multipoint platform where we have access points and then we have subscriber modules. So today, these are the access points that are in the portfolio. Starting on the far right, we have what we call the Omni Micro, so the Micropop rather, which is an Omni based AP. If I remember correctly, I think 9 dBi, somewhere there. So in terms of range, you'll be looking at about maybe 1.5 kilometers or so. But the beauty with the Omni, the Micropop, is you can use it to inject extra capacity in an existing network that is demanding more capacity, or you can use it for multi-dwelling units that have just come up who are waiting to be connected to internet via fiber, and they waited maybe for 8 months. This is a very quick way to take service to such areas, okay? Or events where you need something to put in, something simple, quick, that you can put in for the day or 2 days and easily remove and take to the next site. Okay, that's how we're seeing a lot of customers use it. So I think the 1000 is, parts of it are still available, but generally maybe it's going out of life. Remember, this is we brought this in 2013, and this was based on N, and you had 5 gig, you had 2 gig. The second generation is the EPMP 2000, slightly bigger in size, and that's because we brought in what we call dynamic filter and a beamforming antenna to further mitigate interference, external interference. Okay. Today, the flagship access points are the 3000 family, and 3000 we have two variants. We have the L, which is L stands for low density sectors. So this is something that you would deploy outside your CBD, so maybe 15, 20 kilometers outside your CBD, which is theoretically less interfered with. And because of that, the L does not have a dynamic filter on it. Neither does it get installed with a beamforming antenna. And it's also just a 2x2 MIMO, and it's limited to 64 and not 120 SMs. Okay. So an inexpensive way to tap that capacity in the outer lying areas. Okay. And then you have the full 3000, which is a 4x4, so 4 transmitters, 4 receivers, able to handle 120 with dynamic filter on board, part of the hardware, and optional beamforming antenna. Okay, so that's the 3000 based on AC wave 2. Wave 2 is important because in AC there's wave 1 and wave 2. Only wave 2 gives you the capability to do mu MIMO. Okay. Sector antennas, we'll look at the two on the left. So today, with the 3000, you would be looking at this mu MIMO sector antenna. For the 3000L, however, you'll be using the 2000. Remember, the L is a 2x2 MIMO, so V and H. So you just got two SMA ports. So you'll be looking at the 2000 EPMP 2000 antenna for the 3000L. Okay, and then of course far left is it's the same beamforming antenna for the 2000 and the 3000. Okay. Moving on to the subscriber modules, AC, so Force 300 are AC Wave 2 subscriber modules. We've got a host of different types of Force 300s, I beg your pardon, and the number at the end denotes the antenna gain. So 25 is 25 dBi, 16, 13 is a 13 dBi, and as such. And then again, of course, depending on the environment that you're operating in, you'd also look at the ingress protection. You've got devices which are out for stringent environments, like the Force 300 CSM, which is IP67, or this is a home client, and IP55 will be okay. And I'm looking for a 19 dBi antenna, so the Force 319 will be great. And again, all these subscribers and the APs are in the link planner. So before you actually do they make a decision on which devices you go for, you can do a simulation just to ensure that you are going to get either the capacity, the availability, the uptime, or indeed the fade margin that you want to plan for. Okay. Okay, so before we jump into AX, let me launch a poll, and you tell me whether you'll be able to see it. So should be a question. I need to select. Okay, so I'm going to open the poll now. The poll is open, and I'll give a minute for you to answer. So it's a yes and or no answer. And the question is, are you using EPMP 3000 today? Okay, we're getting to the 30-second mark. Okay, anyway, let me not preempt the results. We've got 20 seconds left. 57% have voted. You've got 20 seconds, 15 seconds left. Okay, I'll give 5 more seconds. 80% have voted. Okay, I'm going to close the poll now, and hopefully you'll be able to see. I've closed the poll, and I'm going to share, and the results are interesting. You should be able to see the results. So 23% of you say yes, 77% say they've never used the 3000, and so we're looking forward to have that discussion with all of you. And please feel free to ask any questions. Put them in the chat. We'll tackle them at the end. Okay. So I'm going to hide the poll so we can continue. Okay, I've closed and can continue. Hopefully you can see my slides. Could I get a yes, somebody? Audience view 100%. I think you can see my slides. Pa?
Yes, Mwiya.
You can see my slides?
So yeah, I can only see the AX slide.
Exactly, that's what I want you to see. No, so because we're continuing now. So I've closed the poll. You were able to see the results?
Yes, I was able to see 23 and 70 something.
Perfect, perfect. So we've got some work to do there.
Yeah.
So let's go into AX. So 11AX is the latest IEEE Wi-Fi standard, 802.11ax. And why would you, apart from the global chipset shortage of AC and N, why else would you want to be looking at AX? Well, first of all, you've got faster throughput, better network efficiency, but also it supports better battery life. Okay, and in dense environments, which is what we're seeing now, remember a lot of data connections are indoor, especially as a result of the pandemic, work from home, school from home, shop from home. So the density in terms of the radio density inside became congested. Now AX has technologies that handle that very well. Okay, and so that's why you'd want to be looking at AX. And the number of devices will just keep going. I mean, each person today has a laptop, they have a phone, they have a tablet, whether it's a Samsung or iPad, and put 3-4 people in a house. So that's 16 devices, just one house, just to give you an example. Think of the offices as they go back post-pandemic. Okay. And just to explain what I said about the global chipset. So manufacturers of chipsets like Qualcomm, Intel, readily have available AX, okay? NAC chipsets are becoming very expensive, and it's not only about cost, but they take forever. The lead times are extra long. Okay, so we've seen a lot of other vendors actually removing altogether AC and N devices and only offering AX. As Cambium, we still have some N and AC. For how long? I mean, I can't say. This is, the global situation is a fluid thing. Just when Corona is seemingly going down, there's a war. Who knows what's next? So it's uncertainty. Today we're living day by day, right? So Wi-Fi 6 and 6E. So remember I said 6E is Wi-Fi in 6 gigahertz. So traditionally Wi-Fi will be doing 5 and 2.4. So when you see 6E, we're just talking about Wi-Fi in 6 gigahertz. Okay. So today, on the left, we have Wi-Fi 6 indoor APs, which I highlighted earlier, the XV3-8 and outdoor XV2-2. Okay, the XV2-2 is the smaller indoor option. Okay, then on the right we have the 6E family. We have XE3-4. So you can see the E there denotes 6E. Okay, and just to explain this 3-4, so what we're saying is 3 radios, 4 streams. So the second number denotes the number of streams, and that's how the standard works. And the first number denotes the number of radios. And this is why you want to use a Wi-Fi 6 or 6E device indoors, because it's got multiple. So multiple radios, meaning I can handle more number of customers easily and more efficiently. Okay, more efficiently, we mean auto RF filling of gaps, long battery life, and so on. So 5-8, so that's got 5 radios, and ideally you could configure each of those radios on different bands. It could be 2, 4, 5 gig, and 6. Okay, then 8 streams. So the number of streams just means higher capacity. The more the number of streams, the more the higher the capacity you can offer. And again, these are gig. In terms of capacity. This is gig capacity. Okay. I think I have another poll related to Wi-Fi. Right. So let me share it. And I'm going to launch the poll. Please vote. So the question is, would you consider deploying or moving to Wi-Fi 6 or Wi-Fi 6E today? I'll give a minute again. So please get voting. We're coming right up to 30 seconds now. 57% have voted. We've got 64% have voted. 36% are not sure. It's gone up. We've got 80% voted. You've got 20 seconds left. Five seconds left. 86% voted. Time is up. I'll give 5 seconds in case 14% want to vote. Okay, I'm going to close the poll now. And I'm going to share the results with you. And again, so 92% of you say you would consider deploying or moving to Wi-Fi 6, and 8% say no. Interesting. Anybody who said no, if you are courageous enough, just share with us. We just want to hear why you wouldn't consider that. Is it cost, or you're not sure yet? So feel free, open your mic. Anybody? Okay, I'm not going to pick on anyone. No problem. So I will hide that, and so we can continue. Okay, so we should be back on the slides. Let me take away my panel and off we go. We spoke about CN Maestro earlier, and this slide, I think, does justice to what I said earlier in terms of the differences. So Essentials is free. Even the guest portal, if you're using it for Wi-Fi, the voucher platform, generating vouchers, all that is free. CN Maestro X, there's an annual subscription. So you can see here, there are things like API, location API, there's multi-tenant MSPs, there's wireless security detection, there's some root cause analysis. This is the beginning of bringing in some artificial intelligence into the CN Maestro, but it will only be in the CN Maestro X, where behind the scenes, there'll be algorithms which will be able to see what is happening in your network and flag to you to say, oh, in another 2-3 weeks, a month, the way you are adding, the way your network is going, there'll be a bottleneck over there and such things. Okay. So webhooks is another thing that you only find with CN Maestro X. And with CN Maestro X, you get 7x24 tech support. It's part of the annual subscription. Okay. Let's move into applications, because these tend to resonate with a lot of us and your customers. Okay, because at the end of the day, I mean, you're not selling a platform. You buy platforms to be able to sell solutions and resolve challenges, customers' challenges, right? So here is broad-based number of applications. It could be CCTV, it could be a distribution network, point to multi-point, public Wi-Fi. It could be schools or offices. It could be multi-dwelling units, which are becoming very common in a lot of African capitals. We're seeing a lot of MDU type of solutions. It could be backhaul for public Wi-Fi to a university, to municipality. Okay, so any one of these, I'm sure, resonates with you today, but it's always good to put stuff into context. This reference slide, I like it because this is a typical go-to reference architecture that we're seeing today in a lot of service providers, MNOs, fixed. When I say fixed, likes of Liquid, Uganda, Kenya, they use this kind of architecture as well, just to mention a few, where you would have your tower. On your tower, you have your base stations or your sectors, what we like to call them, APs in the Cambium world, denoting your sectors, talking to subscribers at your customer location, and then this CPE connected Ethernet into either a Wi-Fi access point, into a building, small office, or connected into a home router, which is what we're seeing a lot today, because service providers are realizing there's a lot of communication and data communication that is happening indoors. If you're not part of that conversation, you're missing out. If you're just waiting for them to come to your network when you're outdoor, you're missing out. Here is where it starts, where you can show them what you have to offer and then carry them on the outdoor. Okay, so these home routers, very, very important, because they make sure that within indoors, the user experience is good. Okay, so you have different types. You have single band, you've got dual band, you've got home routers that have PoE out, so that can power a subscriber module, so you don't need another power source. You've got home routers with different number of LAN ports, so you can connect all these things that you need for your home office, printer, desktop, storage. And then you've got home routers that have analog ports as well, ATA ports where you can plug in your landline, if you still use a landline, that is. Okay. So we're seeing this very much across the continent. This is something else we're seeing a lot, especially in places like Nairobi and Luanda in Angola, MDUs, where you have multi-dwelling units, lots of people staying in one building. How do you take connectivity to those houses in an MDU setup? So this is one way where you can use the CN wave with the 60 gig. Remember, 60 gig, it's gigabit capacity. So one access point, the V5000, can do 15 gig with channel bonding, so 15 gig of capacity. Okay, then you drop a V1000 or a V3000 on the multi-dwelling premises. So here you go. So the V1000 receiving the signal from a V5000 in a point to multi-point, and then connected to a switch, a CN matrix switch, Cambium CN matrix switch, which is also monitored by the CN Maestro. And then from here, you can start running connections to home routers. So each unit having a home router. Okay. This just opens up, you know, at the building level. As we said, you have a customer node in the 60 gig standard. CPE is called a client node. I beg your pardon, not customer node. And then an AP is called a distribution node. So CPE client node 1000, and then inside you have a enterprise switch 1000 connected to for one particular house, a home router, the R195W, which you now offer, you know, triple play. You can do IPTV. Okay, very simple, quick to roll out, getting you that revenue yesterday. No laying of fiber, getting permission, taking 6 months, waiting. People want service yesterday. Okay, so this is a very quick way of getting that service over to MDUs. Another application is where you would use the 3000L as an AP, talking to a Force 300 subscriber, which is co-located with an outdoor Wi-Fi access point. It could be a CN pilot, it could be the AX range of access points. We're seeing this is a very common architecture in universities. We're doing a lot of universities, even on the continent, and this is a very popular architecture. And most of them are actually using solar. They would power this arrangement of the SM, the Force 300, with the Wi-Fi access point, all powered by solar. Okay. Similar thing as that we saw earlier. This is just point-to-point, where you have a point-to-point link, and then one side the slave co-located with a Wi-Fi public hotspot AP. Okay. Then of course CCTV. This is Budapest in Hungary. They use EPMP for a citywide CCTV network. So in the city of Budapest, you can't walk 100 meters without seeing Force 180s, EPMP 1000. They're all over. Okay, and this is in the 5 gig that they're using it, right? Working so well. Let's get into the Force 400/425. This is a gigabit EPMP radio. It's based on 802.11ax. So for that last mile, where you are struggling to lay fiber, the last couple of I don't know, 10, 100 meters, where you just can't, it's just not cost effective to lay fiber. So the Force 425 is an option because it does a gigabit, but also it has not only does it have an SFP, but it has an optional GPON module. So that allows you to co-locate the Force 425 with your fiber pop without having to require any multiplexers. Connect directly to your fiber pop and then use this for that last mile. Okay, so it's a 5 gig radio, and it's also got what we call an optional range extender. So this is a 25 dBi. This optional range extender clips on the existing antenna, and the idea is it adds about some 3 centimeters, and by 3 centimeters it adds about 3 dBi, becomes 28 dBi. So it's a way to extend. Okay, it's IP67. Of course, if the 25 dBi antenna gain is not enough for you, you can buy the 400C, the connectorized version, and use an antenna with much more gain. Okay. Then it goes up to all the way from 4.9 to 6.135, so an additional 230 megahertz, which makes a difference if you are operating in a very congested 5 gig spectrum. Okay. Simplicity is what we wanted to bring in terms of being able to put it together quickly and easily. And then operational was also a big thing. So for example, you can now see those bright LED operational lights from the bottom without having to go up the mast. They'll be visible because of the way they are positioned. I think previously they were underneath or something like that. So this is proving to be better. Okay. Then you've got things like you can replace the radio without removing or realigning the dish. So you can remove the radio for whatever reason. If you have to replace it, you don't need to remove the dish, so meaning you don't need to realign it again. Okay, so bringing you extra operational add-ons. Okay, I will not go into detail. This is just performance of one Force 425. This was in Canada at a distance of 14 kilometers. They were able to do about 400 meg on a 40 megahertz channel. Okay. So the feedback on these radios has been good, very good so far. The next session is going to be given by our partner, PA of Tima in the Gambia. So he's going to talk about some of the challenges that they faced and how some Cambium platforms were able to assist them. Pa, are you on?
Yes, Mwiya, thank you very much.
Okay, I'll control for you. You can tell me when to.
So some things here.
Yeah. Somebody's, are you hearing a background noise?
We were hearing it, yes, initially, but now
Yes,
it's gone.
let me move. Yes. Thanks for that presentation. I have what, 5 minutes?
You got 5 minutes, yes, Pa.
Okay, all right. Yes, we can go. We can start.
Go ahead.
Hi, hi everyone. My name is Pamodu Tal. I am the MD or the CEO for Tima Company Limited. Tima Company Limited is a Cambium partner. We have been a partner since late 2017. And now we have moved from being a partner to being a partner plus a distributor, mainly in the Gambia here. For those who have not heard about Gambia, or don't know much about Gambia, Gambia is a very small country. It's surrounded by Senegal. If you look at the map, you can see on all 3 sides. We say it's a very small country. Population is about 2.2 million. Size of the country is about 10,000 kilometers square. The geography of the country is a relatively flat country, which makes it a very friendly wireless country. You can easily put up radios without having much problems with mountains and very high buildings. The climate is a subtropical climate. We have sunshine all year round. The economy is based on the tourism and agriculture. We have about 9 ISPs in the country, of which Cambium is servicing 9. That's about 67% of the total ISPs in the Gambia. So basically, that's a short introduction of Gambia. I'm going to summarize the story, the Gambian story. It's mainly based on before and after Cambium and timeline situations. So then basically I'm going to show you a graph which is basically self-explanatory. It's showing our position now, the Cambium position now in regards to other vendors in the ISP market. So before Cambium, in the late 90s, the internet connectivity was mainly on the corporate sector. There weren't many home users or homes that are connected to internet services. So it was mainly offices and institutions that were connected. At that time, the situation was very easy to control by the ISPs. We only had about 3 ISPs, and the subscriptions were less than 1,000 subscriptions. So this was pretty much easy. There was no demand for bandwidth. Competition was not very high. Until the late mid-20s, 2000s, 2005, 2004, when the explosion of the social media came in. This was a situation where you had the social medias like Facebook and YouTube coming into the internet. Of course, people were trying to venture in these areas. So this kind of situation, of course, will bring a lot of challenges, mainly bandwidth challenges. We also experienced during these years, or during this time, the internet cafes were exploding, and people, of course, were trying to get connected with the social media. So if you're an ISP, if you put yourself in the shoe of any ISP at this point, when you have people who are thirsty for bandwidth, you only have two choices. You either have to scale to a size where you can take care of your customers, or you can feed your clients the bandwidth that they need, or you're out of business. So the challenges at this point in time, there were throughput issues in some of the ISPs were experiencing throughput issues, and also the cost of equipment that they were using at some point, licenses and all that. In regards to scaling, was becoming too expensive for them to handle. See, so therefore there was a situation that arose also. ISPs were also looking for cheaper ways of operating, at the same time scaling. So that is why we had in the late 2000s, we had some ISPs looking at the 5 gigahertz because most of them were on LTE license band, some were on WiMAX as well. You know, license in the Gambia here, license frequency in the Gambia is very expensive. Some were paying up to $18,000 per annum. So of course, when you scale and you know you want to stay in the business, you have to look for cheaper ways of operating. So there was at some point in the late 2000s where ISPs were looking for vendors on the 5 gigahertz. And I believe that some tried other vendors, but I think they could not. You know, they definitely could not do the job at that time. So then Cambium was introduced. This was around the 2017 in the Gambia here. There are a few ISPs that experience using the EPMP. The breakthrough, however, happened when the EPMP 2000 came up, because that is the time when throughput definitely was an issue, but also interference on the 5 gigahertz, because as people were trying to do their pilots on the 5 gigahertz, the environment became noisy. So the EPMP 2000 was a breakthrough for some ISPs. We had our first POC on around 2018, late 2018, with one ISP, and within a month they were happy with the results. So they started doing high purchases, high level purchases on the EPMP 2000. So eventually there was an evolution from the EPMP 2000 to 3000 because of capacity, and you know, since then we have been able to push a lot of EPMP 3000s in the market. So the main challenges that were faced before Cambium came to the market was mainly throughput issues and capex and also OPEX. You know, Cambium came offering high performance, affordable point to multi-point gadgets, which were also being able to work in the 5 gigahertz and scale without much problem because of the technology advantages they had. So these situations, the interference issues on the 5 gigahertz that we have tested before on other vendors, the high cost of the license frequencies, you know, and capacity led to all these ISPs trying to get into the market to look for Cambium, you know, because if you put yourself in the shoes of any ISP, you want to operate as a business, make profit, and the only way you can do that is having a technology that is not very expensive, but at the same time it's able to do the job that you want. So this Cambium definitely had the 5 gigahertz dominated with the advantages they had on the frequency mitigation, interference mitigation, sorry, and the fact that it is the price is reasonable, is in between, not high, not low, but in between other vendors. So ISPs also were able to see that, okay, fine, this the EPMP is scalable, even though it's only 5 gigahertz. As opposed to other vendors, you can scale, but to a certain point, you will not be able to handle the interference, either it's some interference or external interference. So this is very key to what Cambium was able to achieve. Interference on the 5 gigahertz, you know, and also we had we had situations where I think one of the ISPs told us clearly that the tools that Cambium are using, for example, he said Maestro. Maestro is a great tool. He said had it been that if it wasn't expensive on the LTE that he was using before, plus the Maestro tool, he would not have switched to Cambium. So definitely, in the Gambia here, the story is very short, but in the Gambia, this is our short story. And this has led to some ISPs to venture with the Cambium products and eventually came 100% on Cambium. There's one particular ISP who is on Cambium 100% from backhauling to distribution even to router level. So the market situation here, you can see here the graph in front of you. Cambium started, you can see that clearly, around late 2018. By then, there were other vendors, mainly LTE, WiMAX, and other 5 gigahertz vendors in the market. But the problems highlighted on the LTE, it was expensive, and definitely some ISPs could not really handle that kind of OPEX. So they had to look for something reasonable in the 5 gigahertz. Around 2019, that's when you have really Cambium making some impact in the 5 gigahertz market. And by then, we also had some ubiquity vendors in around the country. But eventually, as I said, the capability of the EPMP 2000, 3000 outweighed all the other vendors in terms of total cost of ownership and in terms of OPEX. So eventually, this is where we are now. We have been able to push more than 5,000 Cambium products in the Gambia here, and the trend is an upward trend. It's an upward trend. We don't see it going down in the near future. So that's it. That's the story of Gambia. Thank you for listening. Have a good day.
Thank you very much, Pa. Thank you very much for that. And please, if you have any questions for Pa, feel free. And you can even engage him after the session on a one-to-one to check in on whatever you would want to clarify. Thank you. Okay, let's soldier on. Couple of more slides. I will skip this. We'll provide you with the slide deck. This is just showing some performance of the 3000. So on a 20 megahertz channel, for example, this is a live network. They were able to do 202 aggregate. You can see the uplink and downlink. So of course, it's more downlink centric, the application. Okay. Just a second. Oh, there we go. This is a network in Libya called IonTel. And why are we sharing this? So you see on our specs, most of our specs, and you ask those people who have worked with Cambium for some time now, is that those specs that we put there are field specs. So when we say an AP can handle 120, we really mean 120. So this is an AP, typical AP in the IonTel network. You can see registered subscriber modules, 75. And you can see all the table down below with the MAC addresses, IP addresses of the 75 subscribers. Okay. Now, I would like to briefly outline one of our latest offerings. So one of the things that we're doing as Cambium is not just about hardware, tools, monitoring, and planning, but I think world over, software has become very, very important. I mean, we can't run away from software. So we're always looking at ways of improving what you have as network owners. How are you going to get more from your network? and give more to your users. Okay, so we've introduced what we call the quality of experience solution, which is essentially a proxy server box, a TCP proxy box, which is introduced in the network to be able to be able to generate seamless acknowledgements. Okay, so TCP by its nature, protocol nature, it tends to buffer, especially when there are things like maybe a high amount of interference, or the jitter and so on. So you get what they call back off. So because of that back off, your experience, you're downloading a page, it becomes slower. So that's what happens. So the introduction of the TCP proxy, the QoE box or solution, is there to reduce the distance where packets need to be acknowledged, and then it forwards. Okay, and by doing this, it improves the experience. Okay, so let's look at some of the things when we talk about quality of experience, because you remember there's quality of service, which is more of a network phenomenon, but here we're talking about quality of experience, what the end user sees. And it's very important to listen to the end user, because he's the one using it. You might think, oh no, but I've put a gigabit capacity, or I've put a 10 gig fiber line. It's not about that. It's not about that. So more capacity doesn't equate to great user experience. Okay, so let's look at some of the things that customers complain about. Oh, buffering. Oh, while watching Netflix, I have to wait for it to buffer. Oh, while I was using my my Teams or my Zoom, I got a message. Your ping is high, or you've lost audio during this call, or there's high latency during online gaming. So those are the things that your customers, who are in turn our customers, see, and that doesn't equate to good user experience. Okay. So what is this quality of experience solution? So like I've said, it's a box, which is a TCP proxy server. So in it, you've got several components at play. So firstly, TCP optimizer. That's first and foremost the biggest thing. So to smoothen out those acknowledgements, okay, so that you don't have that slow downloading of a page, so that you don't have choppy audio when you're on a WhatsApp call and so on and so forth. Okay, that's one aspect. The other part of the box is a component that does rate limiting. So where you'll be able to now limit certain traffic types across the network. Okay. The other part is a denial of service detection service. So it just alerts you. It doesn't act on it, but at least if you're alerted about something, that's a good start, right? Okay, so that's just an add-on to this functionality. And then you also have traffic shaping. Very, very important. Traffic shaping, very important, especially in this day and age where kids want to do their games. Okay, they could be hogging the whole pipe. So what traffic shaping allows is to say, okay, for this guy's gaming, he'll be all right with a 2 meg. I will limit him to 2 meg so that I can have some decent bandwidth for my conference calls as I work. Okay, so you can shape your traffic on a per application basis. Okay, then you've got insights, very important as well. Insights, it will tell you what is your customer doing on the network. It will not show you their actual site or whatever, so it's not intrusive in terms of privacy and all that, you have an idea, say, oh, so many percent of my customer base is spending time on YouTube at this hour, or Netflix at this hour, or there's more people doing conference calls. Okay, so you use this data. This is the data that you'd use to apply your traffic shaping. But also with this data, you can now start scoping your service offering with more insight. You say, okay, I've got more people doing YouTube, so I should tailor my weekend package to suit that kind of behavior. Okay, so very valuable type of insight that can, first of all, make the customer more happy. Secondly, make you more revenue with the same network. Okay, so, and again, it's not about throwing capacity, putting up more APs. No, it's not about that. You can have all the capacity, but the guy who's doing gaming is hogging everything, just because you can't shape traffic or you can't rate limit. Okay. Then we also have for networks that are already using EPMP or the 450M, which has Mwiya, we have something called Mwiya gain enhancement. So where the quality of experience box will be able to determine, say, oh, those 2 subscribers over there have a higher chance of being on what we call the Mwiya gain, or rather leveraging a higher Mwiya gain. Okay, so to be able to say, tie in that customer to be in one group. By doing that, you get more capacity. Because in Mwiya, there's what we call grouping. So depending on where the subscribers are, there's an angle of separation. You can group them into certain groups. By doing that, you get higher capacity. So we're saying that can now be done, dynamically through the quality of experience box. Okay. So that's what the box would look like. And this is something you put either at the tower or at your NOC. So we've got a tower model, starting from a gig traffic. Then we've got NOC models going up to 40 gig, handling 40 gig of traffic. Okay. So again, those are the 3 main things that you'll be doing. You'll be accelerating for acknowledgement packets, meaning that browsing is no longer slow, no longer having choppy audio, insight on a per application basis. And with that insight, you can also prioritize, which is something I left out earlier. You can prioritize. So you say, fine, I'm going to prioritize because I have to do my work. I'm going to prioritize you can prioritize on an application basis. So I'm going to prioritize Zoom and Teams, higher priority. Gaming, I'll give a lesser priority. Okay. So again, your customer, because there's that ability to prioritize, will not come to you to complain. Will not come to you to complain. So you are improving the user experience, which is quality of experience. Okay. As I mentioned this, so on the right, this is what you'd, the NOC model, where you have 10 up to 40 gig kind of capacities. Okay. So the last poll, and we have 1 slide to go. So let me launch the last poll. It's a question on the QoE. So I'm going to launch it. You have a minute. And the question is, would you like to explore our QoE solution further? So it's a simple yes or no question. Got a minute to vote. You've got 30 seconds left. 53% of you have voted. You've got 20 seconds left. %60 have voted. You've got 5 seconds left. Only 59% have voted. I'll give another 5 seconds. Okay, I'm going to close the poll and share the results. Okay, I'm sharing. So 59% voted, and all of them voted yes to wanting to explore further. So again, we need to reach out and give more information and address those that interest. Okay, so I'm going to hide the poll now. And I just want to make mention of the service provider toolbox. It's a portal for service providers. So WISPs, mobile network operators, fixed operators doing fiber and so on. So the portal offers content that is service provider centric, so frequencies, regulatory, promos, new technology, new services, new applications. You learn from other ISPs or other providers in the EMEA region. So if you're a service provider on the call, on the session today, please, I encourage you to reach out and apply. So application is simple. You just go to the service provider, cambiumnetworks.com, and sign up, and we approve. Okay. I'm not going to go through the different tabs that you'll see, but if you have any questions on the service provider or how to join that program, please don't hesitate. Let us know. Okay. I just want to share with you some of the operators, service providers we're working with today. I'll just mention the notable ones that are on the continent, because there are some operators here that are Europe-based. So Airtel, today we do a lot of work with Airtel. MTC in Namibia. So Airtel do a lot of EPMP, 2000, 3000. MTC does 450M. We do work with Orange. They do EPMP, and recently a huge project with Wi-Fi 6. We work with Vodafone. We work with Liquid Telecom, Vodacom, MTN, bottom right, maybe about 5 MTN properties where we do EPMP, we do 450M, we do a lot of Wi-Fi, you know, so we're quite engaged. Telcom, bottom left, SA, we do work with them as well. Okay. And then lastly, at the bottom here, annually there's an association called Whisper, where they, at the end of their sessions, they vote for the manufacturer of the year. And for the last 5 years, we've won this award. So all wireless vendors are involved in this nomination, if I may say so. So 2017, 18, 19, 20, and 21 recently, we've been nominated as Whisper Manufacturer of the Year. And so for those participants that are joining us today who don't know much about us or who don't use us, I think, chat to us let's see how we can help you. For those who use us, we thank you very much for your support. We don't take it lightly. We thank you very much. So I would like to end there, but before I do end, let me just check. I saw there was one question asking about the indoor wireless router and the one port. So we've got various types, but the most common one is R195W. And I think the one port is 300 meg. I speak under correction, but I think it's 300 meg. Any other questions, please? I only see one question in the, oh, hold on. Hold on. There could be another question. Just give me a minute, please. No, that was the only question. But again, if you think of anything, please don't hesitate to reach out. Pa, do you want to say some passing remarks, or?
Well,
I think we've come to the
thank you, Mwiya. Yeah, thank you, Mwiya. Just thank all attendees for attending, giving their ears. Thank you.
So again, thanks a lot for attending, and we hope to hear from you. Any questions, please feel free. Thanks a lot. Have a good evening further. Bye-bye. I will now close the bridge. Thank you.